that all the world would sing, and your dreams came true. Now imagine experiencing a life-altering health challenge with mounting medical bills that your share of royalties from that hit song can barely cover. The year? 1970. The songwriter? Nadine McKinnon. The recording artist? Donny Hathaway. The song?
Hang all the mistletoe, I'm gonna get to know you better. This Christmas.
A match made in heaven. Nadine McKinnon and Donny Hathaway. To date, over 300 artists have covered This Christmas. Unfortunately, because of industry practices and standards in the early 70s, Nadine McKinnon failed to protect her interests and did not benefit financially to the extent she should have. As we know, history is littered with countless untold stories of the accomplishments of hidden black female figures. For over 50 years now, we've been inspired by this heartfelt Christmas classic. Due to a sudden debilitating stroke, Nadine McKinnon is in need of our help to assist with massive medical bills not covered by our insurance. Please show your love to this inspirational woman and writer of our beloved classic. And this Christmas will be a very special Christmas for you and Nadine. Please contribute as your heart leads you. All donations are welcome. Go right now to the GoFundMe page for Nadine Scott McKinnon or head to the KBLA 1580 website. On behalf of KBLA Talk 1580, thank you in advance for doing your part to honor a true songwriting legend.
And this Christmas will be a very special Christmas for me.
Merry Christmas.
We got London on the track.
Whoa. Yeah, man, TIP. To the max with it. Rex. I count
Six shots.
Bustin' out the bando. Jury real metal like a candle. I went from rad to riches to a feature with tip. I went from smart car to a with some smart lips. And that if it need make my hip limp. I'm going fishing with these little bitty strip dips. And my bankroll kinda big dip. Woo. She gon' bring it on a big ship. Quite trail, no quick trip. I got dubs in the alley, no tip. Yeah. She just wanna have a good day. Smoke way more weed than the guy in LA. I hold them birds till next May. Damn. Never let them fly away. What? Hey. Listen what my tips say. Hey, yeah.
Don't be blowing me up. Ain't getting up.
If it ain't about the money,
Ain't no use to you ringing my line. Stop wasting my time.
if it ain't about the money,
Nah, I can even hear what you say. I ain't finna do. If it ain't about money, you can miss me with it. You can miss me with it. Turn.
I pack in 11, I pack in 11.
welcome into hour 2 of RSVP with Jill Munroe here on KBLA Talk 1580. You know, we had to let that ride a little bit, vibing out. Feels good, right, for a Wednesday? We're getting it in. Listen, we're going to get into the second hour. We have Trent the Artist with us, our Keep It Real friend. We're going to talk about Byron Allen and his new bid for BET. He is trying to take advantage of a situation, a new announcement, which I'm pretty sure he might have had a clue about that was coming a little bit, that there are talks right now of Paramount, which is the parent company of BET. They also own VH1, you know, they're formerly Viacom, Comedy Central, a couple of other networks, and Warner Brothers Discovery. That's where HBO Max is. That's where HBO is. That is where Discovery and those shows are housed. They're talking about merging into one company. That means that Max and what is the streamer? All the Paramount streamers, Paramount Plus, BET Plus, in theory, would come together under one thing. But not if they went ahead with what the previous plan was and sold BET. And Byron Allen, you know, he already has the Griot Network. We know he owns the Griot website, the Weather Channel, a couple of other things. Acquired some, at least, of his cable channels through the initiative, the diversity initiative that was done by Charter Communications, the cable network, to open up their networks to more minority leadership, minority ownership. So we're going to get into that, plus more stories. Let's get into some of these chat comments. Mackie Samuel says, could we consider cooperative, or is that co-op? Yeah, cooperative business models where employees and a number of people own businesses like BET. One person ownership is kind of like plantation economics. I mean, it makes sense if you could, get enough people to buy in and have ownership and sort of pieces of it, and you come together under a collective, but someone would still have to lead it, organize it. There would have to be efforts for things to come together. So who is that individual, and how are they going to go about procuring the talent to come on board with that? I would love to see it happen. I think that that's what some of these streamers are trying to do. Like when you think of the All Black Network, when you think of Fubu has their own streamer. Obviously, we've talked about Tubi and some of the things that they're doing, even though their ownership is primarily Fox at this point. But there's still models in that manner. Kendi says, why not just move to China so you can live your communist sweater? What? Kendi, that is not what that is about. And I think you mean socialism, actually. I think that is what you were referring to, because that is more group economics and group cohesiveness. But maybe not. I don't know. Maybe you'll explain further in the chat.
Of course Kendi is going to explain in the chat. What do you mean?
Mackie also says BET initially represented an image for Black Americans, but initial owner Bob Johnson said it was for him and his family. That seems somewhat plantation-like, in my opinion. I can certainly understand that perspective. BET, at the time when it came out, it was the one and only. So obviously what it meant as far as representation in the general scope of things, it took on a life of its own. I think that in the later years, that is one of the problems that happened to BET, is that they tried to be everything to everyone. They wanted to talk to the kids and teens and be a positive influence. They wanted to dabble. And I talk about this all the time.
Yes, you do.
I say this all the time. Everyone always says, I love Teen Summit. I watched it all the time. I never missed it. Ratings did not reflect as such. And that's the cold, hard facts, right? I think sometimes we like the appearance of positivity and good things, but we don't always show up for it in the same way.
I can definitely attest to that. That is a fact.
Andy?
To that point, didn't Teen Summit, if I remember correctly, come on like Saturday morning?
It did. It did. And at the time, it fit the programming because you had things like NBA Inside stuff. It came on like around 10 or 11 o'clock after Soul Train. It started in the 90s.
I think it was just a lot of competition at that time period.
I don't think it was, though, especially for black teens.
Black teens were probably watching cartoons.
Maybe.
We're probably watching NBA Inside stuff.
Right.
I'm just saying. I was a teenager during that time period, too. So I'm just saying there was a lot of other stuff. I'm just thinking if maybe that Teen Summit came on during the weekday in the afternoon, per se. You know what I'm saying? Ratings might have been different.
But that's what 106 and Park was for.
Well, this was before that. When we come forward, I have a response to both of those things and something else to throw into the ring. Oh. And we'll get into more YouTube comments. You are locked into RSVP with Jill Munroe here on KBLA Talk 1580.
KBLA Talk 1580 wishes you a Christmas season that is merry and bright. Happy holidays.
Santa baby, just slip a sable under the tree for me.
Environmental justice, pollution, and climate. In Los Angeles and across America, people of color are suffering and dying from disproportionate health impacts on a planet that has less than 10 years to prevent irreversible damage. Heat illnesses, respiratory illnesses, water-related illnesses, food system impacts, insect-related diseases, Black maternal health, and mental health effects. As the impacts of climate change mount, millions of vulnerable people, our people, are going to bear the brunt of these extreme environmental events, which will likely lead to forced displacement, loss of cultural identity, and other related risks. These realities are as real as rain. Stay tuned to KBLA Talk 1580 for more details about the most progressive multimedia and live events campaign any Black media outlet has ever undertaken to combat the climate catastrophe. Experts, events, empowerment, It's all on the way from unapologetically progressive KBLA Talk 1580. We don't black down. We level up.
Level up, 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 level up.
KBLA Talk 1580. We've got a lot to talk about.
KBLA Talk 1580, connecting you with services and solutions. Stay Housed LA has the resources you need to know your rights and the legal support to back them up. The COVID-19 pandemic has cost people their jobs and livelihoods. This has left an estimated 1/3 of households not being able to make rent and facing losing their homes. This is a fear no one in our community should have to face. You have rights, though, and Stay Housed LA is here to help. Stay Housed LA is a partnership between the County of Los Angeles, the City of Los Angeles, and local community and legal service providers. Together, they provide tenants with the information and support needed to exercise their rights so they can remain safely in their homes. Find out more about your rights by participating in a virtual tenant workshop. Get the legal assistance you need. Find additional resources in Los Angeles County and the City of Los Angeles. Stay connected to Stay Housed LA County for updates. This and more at stayhousedla.org. Stay connected to Stay Housed LA for updates. This and more at stayhousedla.org. That's stayhousedla.org. Or call their hotline at 213-694-0040. We've got your black with a community call to action from KBLA Talk 1580.
Keeping you informed, entertained, and always ahead of the curve. This is RSVP with Jill Munroe on KBLA Talk 1580.
You were locked into RSVP with Jill Munroe here on KBLA Talk 1580. So we're talking ownership, black ownership. Byron Allen has put in a new bid for BET Networks for $3.5 billion. I'm going to be honest. He has the funds, but I don't know. I don't know how I feel about it in his hands.
I don't think anyone knows how they feel about Byron Allen and anything that he does.
He's an interesting man. He has made some amazing moves as far as business goes. I've listened to some interviews with him, and his strategy and approach is different. Some people might disagree with some of the ways and strategies that he's utilized. But
Like, in my mind, I like him. Like, he might.
I certainly respect him.
Yeah, totally. Like, in my mind, like, you have a conversation with him aside from the lights, camera, action at 2 a.m. that he's got on his set on all his TV shows, and he's like a decent guy, and you buy into what he's selling.
So we'll see. Thomas Outlaw says, so should we be afraid of Cedar's World premiering on the Weather Channel? Making a joke. So funny thing about those old shows like Cedar's World, Hits from the Streets, people forget about Hits from the Streets.
That was groundbreaking.
Here's the thing. He was iconic. He was way ahead of the game.
Yes,
and
he was.
Social media thing and the jokes
What's
and the way they
Al?
presented. His name is Al.
Shearer or something like
Al
that?
Shearer.
Al Shearer, yeah.
He is hilarious.
He is. But, I feel like Al is someone that should have been bigger currently. And I think there's a lot of reasons why that may not have happened. But do you know why you never see, BET just had its 40th anniversary not too long ago. Do you know why you never see footage from Cedar's World or from Hits from the Streets?
Yeah, I do.
Because I told you. No,
Did you?
I did. Why? You tell me.
It's because they don't want to save all that stuff, right?
They did not save the archival footage. They didn't archive it. It was a live show, so most of that footage is not archived. There's allegedly some of it that was in D.C. in one of the buildings that was put away, but I do not believe that it was usable or still intact, and that it is that they did not archive that footage, because if they had, there's no reason in the world we wouldn't have seen some of that footage. There are classic performances from Video Soul, Caribbean Rhythms. They used to have the, what was the movie show with Madeline Woods? And
I remember that one.
And so there was a lot of programming. I saw someone mention how BET started with videos only. So did MTV, and then they evolved that programming. BET actually was syndicating some programming earlier with, some things. I remember there's this show that came out, and it was brief. So we all have heard of Nipsey Hussle, right? Nipsey got his name from a comedian named Nipsey Russell, who obviously played the Tin Man in The Wiz. And he had a show called Nipsey Russell's Juvenile Jury, where he had kids on there and they would give their opinions on stuff. Kind of was a black version of Arc Linkletter's Kids Say the Darndest Things, which used to come on CBS back in the day, way back in the day. I wanted to be on that show. So there were, programming evolutions. They evolved much like others, but I think one of the things that they became hampered with was trying to be, because they were the only one, trying to be everything to everybody. And, we convolute a lot of things. We party and hang out with the heathens Saturday night, and we are at church front row ready to get it started Sunday morning. So BET was the same way. You had BET Uncut in later years. You always had Bobby Jones, the gospel, on Sunday mornings, and later the other show that I'm blanking. I worked on this show. Why can't I think of the name of it? The competition show with Kirk Franklin, the gospel. I can't think of the name of it at the time. That one. Yeah. There were Arabesque films. BET tried films back in the late 90s, early 2000s, derived from book properties and things of that nature. So I think sometimes just because we are unaware doesn't mean that it wasn't thought about, attempted, and just maybe at that time didn't succeed. There's more commentary. Pretty Brown Mimi mentioned that she is upset that Sheila Johnson's name is always left out of the discussion as far as BET is concerned. Mackie Samuel says, "You are so right, and it was Sheila Johnson who manually typed up the initial business plan for BET." So Sheila Johnson just released her memoir not too long ago. Heard great things about it. So definitely, if you want to get into her story, check that out. It's something to get into. I'm sure it might be on Audible. I like Audible too. I appreciate that because I can do other things than when I listen to and get my books in. I can, work out. And
when I go to sleep and then you wake up like, what did that? What?
You go to sleep to those type of books? I go to sleep to things like The Four Agreement and stuff like that, not regular books.
I remember. I always listen to people. I love stories, so. Robin Crawford. When I listened to that book on Audible before I went to sleep because I was busy at that time. Oh yeah, it was deep. I cried.
Did you?
Oh yeah.
You teared up?
Several times.
Okay, so on to Byron Allen. He announced
him again
yesterday that he has emailed the executive board for Paramount Global. And he made the offer for $3.5 billion for BET Media Group, and that includes the BET proper, VH1, BET Studios, the BET Plus streaming service, and there is BET Centric, the other channel. It's various other properties.
$3.5 billion for all that.
And that is up almost a full billion from his original bid of 2.7 that he offered earlier in 2023.
That in my mind, 2.7 billion is a lowball number and 3.5 billion is a lowball number. For all that, $5 billion.
$5 billion is
straight up
quite a bit.
$5 billion. What's up?
Well,
I just bought your book, Sheila Johnson, girl.
So, we will see. Like I said, it's up quite a bit. The original bid was 2.7, so he came up to 3.5. Remember, Tyler Perry said that he felt that they were trying to overcharge basically for the property and that they were trying to, make up for their debt.
Because you got to think about all them channels. Like, okay, let's just say on VH1 alone, that's $2 billion alone because VH1 got original programming that you can rerun and resell. So there's value in that.
Here's the thing. Some of that programming, though, will not make its way over. Some of that programming will stay under the MTV umbrella. For example, Love and Hip Hop Atlanta, no longer on VH1. It airs on MTV too now.
I was talking about pop-up video.
No, I know, and those type of things. But here's the thing: even with pop-up video, you can't really air those because of the music rights.
Yeah.
And so, some of that stuff may hold value, some may not, depending upon how they want to utilize it. Like I look at before HBO and Warner Brothers Discovery merged, a lot of the older programming was scrubbed from HBO Max, right? So none of the Cat House shows, Real Sex, Taxi Cab Confessions.
Oh wow!
Taxi Cab Confessions was one of my
It
favorite.
don't exist no
shows.
more.
They wiped the shows out
Wow.
of there, and I mean, you may be able to find some episodes on YouTube or something like that, but you can't stream
You
them
gotta buy the box set on VHS,
if you could find it.
on Amazon,
I mean,
on resale.
what are you gonna play it on? Do you still have a DVR?
I do.
A VHS?
I do have a VHS. It's so funny. I have a Laserdisc, a Betamax, and a VHS.
A Betamax. They stopped making Betamaxes in '83.
That's how long we've had it in my family, since the
Listen,
80s.
I heard that.
It still works
Get
too.
rid of nothing. Okay. Well, so my thing with Byron, right?
We're still on him.
Well, kind of. We're on the merger thing. You rap with that? You're good with that?
I mean, come on, Byron. I told you I like Byron Allen in my mind.
I do. I respect him.
Yeah.
And I know that he has good intents, but I don't know.
People don't. You know what? People don't.
Creatively, I don't know.
Yes, and I know what the conversation is about Byron Allen and what the black folk. They don't trust him with BET because he's not. They don't know his stance on things. Well, I'll just say that.
Pretty Brown Mimi says, what about Paramount's debt? Will Byron pay that? Well, he wouldn't be buying Paramount. He would be buying BET, which the sale of which, I'm sure in some form or fashion,
For
a
sure.
portion of which would go to pay off that debt. Brother Alfonso says, I don't think the powers that be want BET black and 100% ownership again. Who are the powers that be, and why would they care? I mean, seriously, I know that we say that and we talk a great deal about that, but if they don't think at the scale it's at now where they have control of BET, right? It is bringing them the value that they perceive needs to come from it, right? Why do they care what you go and do with it? They think of it as niche anyway. I understand, like, the idea when you say something like that, but sometimes I'm thinking of it from a business perspective and what does this existing product do to inhibit them, or what does it enhance in their current model? If it was strongly doing either, they would hold on to it.
Yeah.
You know? Now, creatively, what it can become, and I know people are just haters and we talk about things like that, but we also just mentioned the debt, the idea that realistically, some of these studios and networks and streaming corporations, they're going to have to come together and merge, and the survival of the fittest, the strongest of the group is who will win and who will bear out, because the system can't support all of these different options, right?
True.
So we'll have to see what happens with that. Urban Spinster got your back. She says, I have a DVD VCR combo and can't figure out how to play the VHS side on the flat screen.
RCA to HDMI cable.
Okay, is that what it is?
Yeah.
Because I don't know. I still have a DVR and, I mean, not a DVR, a DVD player and I think the VHS DVD combo thing, but I don't know how to hook it up. It's just there in a box.
Yeah, as long as it works, it can always be converted. And you can always watch. You'd be surprised to come over and help you plug it up.
I heard that. Get it going. But I started sending my stuff out to be converted. So, like, I got some of my old VHS tapes converted to digital.
What service did you use?
It's called like Legacy or something. I'll send you the name of it.
I didn't see, and the reason I have tons of VHS and stuff, and I'm going to sit down and eventually convert because I have all the tools at home, because I just don't trust sending my tapes out to somebody. It's like, who are you watching this, and what are y'all going to be looking at? I don't need you looking at my personal private stuff.
It was interesting. Some of it did start to degrade. So like the quality and stuff, I was like, oh, sadness.
Yeah, and so interesting because if it sits in a box for a long time, I thought it was just safe, but the elements of weather and temperature
and dust and everything,
it
it
changes
starts
all of that.
it changes everything. So sometimes like it was goose eggs on there. Thomas Outlaw says, like sports franchises, could Byron Allen do a collab with a few other investors or ownership group and take up a black-owned collective? He could, but I don't think he has interest in that.
I was going to say, I don't think he trusts nobody like that.
I think that he will take ownership of it, and maybe he'll hire different creatives to continue to flesh out. Maybe he will keep the people that are there on. You know, he obviously has the Griot Network, which has some programming on it and some shows that are produced for it. So I'm sure there are other people that are involved in the
I believe
deal.
in Byron Allen. I would like for him to purchase it because it's a different departure from what we expect to know, and I think that we need something different.
We do need something different. I would
People
like
don't
to
think
see.
that it's him that's going to offer the difference, but I think that we will be surprised about what he pulls out of his hat and out of his bag.
Perhaps I just creatively what I've seen as far as like the original programming.
Yeah, I mean, he was probably doing all that himself. I think people should give him a chance.
DJ Black 909 says, wouldn't it be amazing if Urban One, the largest black media conglomerate who also owns TV One Clio TV, put in a bid to buy BET? It could be.
Will they sell it to them though? Will they want that might be too black. They might get scared of that.
I don't know if that would be my favorite either.
No, because it's very because and this is no slight to TV One. I think it's a little antiquated.
It could use a refresher.
Yeah.
You know, I feel that. G Killer says they don't want the real truth to be broadcast to the masses, especially in today's social political dynamic. Yeah.
Yeah. That's what that was code for. It's gonna be too black. Too much information going on to uplift.
Here's my thing for you with that though, right? We have all of these things that are in existence now that are very black that granted are not on the level of BET, but BET is still very black. It is the symbol in culture in a lot of ways for what is culture, at least as far as televised, right? The BET Awards is one of the top cable shows of the year consistently, year over year. We have these streaming networks. So I don't know if it's so much we don't want it out there. I think that is a misnomer. I think sometimes we have to come to terms with we don't always want to see or we don't always value as much the things that are food for us, that are nutrients for us, as we do some of the foolishness. And our views show that up by what we support sometimes.
People don't know what they want until you put it in front of them.
You know, so we will see. When we come forward, we'll get into more trending topics and headlines. You were locked into RSVP with Jill Munroe here on KBLA Talk 1580.
When it's about time to pay, I'ma bill on you.
What you think we in the neighborhood for? Standing at the corner store with a pocket full of dough. I be damned if it wipe a hood. Learned that from UGK, back a pocket full of stone. With your money down like a book of hard folk. You playing with it, I'ma send them through your car door. My wife flip, see, got Bravo. I'm doing it for black and yellow, free hard out. The head honcho, no tonto. I'm quick to put some bricks in the Bronco. Why I don't respond at all? No murder, no dough, no combo. Don't be blowing me up. Ain't getting up.
RSVP with Jill Munroe is your go-to show for staying in the know. More engaging conversation when we come forward on KBLA Talk 1580.
I'm Amber Payton. Here's the latest on the Black Information Network. A Chicago man whose murder conviction was recently overturned is free after spending more than 12 years behind bars. Darian Harris walked out of the Cook County Jail after prosecutors decided not to retry him in a deadly shooting at a Southside gas station in 2011. The decision comes after his conviction was based in part on the testimony of an eyewitness who turned out to be legally blind. Harris, who is black, has long maintained his innocence. One of the Trump co-defendants in Fulton County's election interference case is looking for a new legal team. WSB-TV reports lawyers for Trevion Cootie have filed the paperwork to withdraw as her attorneys. Cootie, a former publicist for Kanye West, is accused of trying to get a Georgia election worker to confirm former President Trump's voter fraud claims. No reason was given for the attorney's move to withdraw from the case. That's the latest. I'm Amber Payton on your home for 24/7 News, the Black Information Network.
California Baptist University has clinched the #1 spot for career preparedness and an impressive #2 for the best student experience, according to the Wall Street Journal. Find out how CBU's award-winning experience can help you live your purpose. Visit calbaptist.edu/here.
Environmental justice, pollution, and climate. In Los Angeles and across America, people of color are suffering and dying from disproportionate health impacts on a planet that has less than 10 years to prevent irreversible damage. Heat illnesses, respiratory illnesses, water-related illnesses, food system impacts, insect-related diseases, Black maternal health, and mental health effects. As the impacts of climate change mount, millions of vulnerable people, our people, are going to bear the brunt of these extreme environmental events, which will likely lead to forced displacement, loss of cultural identity, and other related risks. These realities are as real as rain. Stay tuned to KBLA Talk 1580 for more details about the most progressive multimedia and live events campaign any Black media outlet has ever undertaken to combat the climate catastrophe. Experts, events, empowerment. It's all on the way from unapologetically progressive KBLA Talk 1580. We don't black down. We level up.
Level up, 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 level up.
There are many things to love about winter. Cozy sweaters, celebrations, and family time. But winter can also bring many stressors, extra expenses, seasonal bugs, and so much family time. If you and your loved ones are feeling stressed or anxious this winter, CalHope can help. Check out our free mental health resource at calhope.org today.
The possibility of lung cancer can be pretty scary, especially if you're one of approximately 8 million current or former smokers at high risk. That's why SaveByTheScan.org wants you to know that now there's a breakthrough low-dose CT scan that can detect lung cancer early, and it only takes 60 seconds. You stop smoking, now start screening. For an easy quiz to see if you're eligible, visit SaveByTheScan.org. It could save your life. SaveByTheScan.org is brought to you by the American Lung Association's Lung Force Initiative and the Ad Council.
JP Morgan Chase is building on the investments in California and around the country to help close the racial wealth gap and build a more equitable future. As part of JP Morgan Chase commitment, they are taking action to help improve financial wealth and access to banking in the Black community, helping more people open low-cost checking and savings accounts, hosting community seminars with supporting Black-led institutions by building awareness about financial investments, hiring community managers, and opening community center branches like Crenshaw, Inglewood, and downtown LA. Visit today, jpmorganchase.com/racial equity. Again, jpmorganchase.com/racial equity. Get the tools to help reach your financial goals. Visit today, jpmorganchase.com/racial equity. Again, jpmorganchase.com/racial equity.
KBLA Talk 1580. We've got a lot to talk about.
KBLA Talk 1580 believes in community empowerment through the arts. Tia Chucha Central Cultural is on a mission to transform community in the Northeast San Fernando Valley and beyond through ancestral knowledge, the arts, literacy, and creative engagement. The Northeast San Fernando Valley has a population of about 500,000, the size of the city of Oakland, yet it has no bookstores, art galleries, or full-fledged cultural spaces until Tia Chucha's opened its doors in 2001. Founded by renowned poet and activist Luis Rodriguez, Tia Chucha's Cultural Center provides a year-round free or low-cost arts and literacy bilingual intergenerational programming in mural painting, music, dance, writing, visual arts, healing art sessions, and healing talking circles. Activities also include Mexica, Aztec dance, indigenous cosmology, philosophy, and 2 weekly open mic nights, one in Spanish, the other in English. In addition, they host author readings, film screenings, and art exhibits. To express yourself, heal yourself, attend an event, or volunteer, please visit www.tiachucha.org. That's TIACHUCHA.org. This is a community call to action from KBLA Talk 1580.
Curating the most compelling stories and delivering them straight to your ears. You're listening to RSVP with Jill Munroe on KBLA Talk 1580.
People made the club get full. Many a day has passed, the night has gone by, but still I find the time to put that bomb off in your eye. Total chaos, but these playoffs thought we was amps, and we're taking another route to represent the Dungeon family like grade A. Me and my decide to take the back way. We stabbing every city, then we headed to that back cave. ATL, Georgia, what do we do? Fall ya, bulldogging like them Georgetown Hawkins. Boy, you sound the silly, think my room is sitting pretty, doing donuts, while you suckers like them suckers around titties. Damn, we the committee, gon' burn it down, but us gon' bust you in the mouth with the chorus now. Say,
Welcome back in to RSVP with Jill Munroe here on KBLA Talk 1580. Of course, we've been having a conversation about black ownership, what that means, what that looks like, how we can achieve it in a greater, broader
capacity.
Yeah. You know, I was making my dramatic pauses.
Mm-hmm.
What's up, Andy?
That's what the people want Byron Allen to do, is to go sit in the back of the bus. But
what do you mean? You think so? You think
Andy said it right, because black people don't trust Byron Allen. They don't think that he's black enough. I'm just gonna go ahead and say it.
I mean,
people have their reasons.
Yeah,
you know
they
what I'm saying?
do.
That's probably one of them. But just I think obviously a black man owning, or a black woman, a black person owning, any type of network for that matter, I can just see how, the powers that be, the masses, whoever they is, wouldn't be happy to see that. So I can see how they're probably, throwing Byron Allen some hurdles. But my question is, if not Byron Allen,
then who?
Then who?
I mean, listen, there was a lot of different versions of people.
That's why I'm a proponent for him, because who else is going to do it? We've seen what everyone else has done.
Not necessarily. We know Tyler was one of the things. We saw that. We don't know, and you may disagree, but we don't know what the group of 50, Shaq, and I can't remember who the other individual might have put together. I know it seems odd. Here's the thing. We know 50's murder, 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 kill, kill, kill. However, he does know the successful components of a show, and you got to branch out. He's opened a studio, right? We know that Shaq has been heavily involved in some things. I'm not saying that they're necessarily the answer, right? I just have questions. Here's the thing, too, beyond that, I'm Issa Rae. I'm rooting for everybody black. Right. So it doesn't matter. It's not like if Byron Allen did it, I would be like shunning it or like we shouldn't.
But a lot of people would. And I just got posed in the chat, like, what did I mean by he's not black enough? I didn't say that. I said that he was a proponent, but I know what black people think because I know how black people are. Black people need to know where you stand on certain issues that pertain to black people. And because they don't know that about Byron Allen, because he hasn't particularly made a stance outside of him owning the griot, they don't know what to do with him or where he stands, so therefore they don't trust him.
Yeah, I mean, and I think that goes to as well. He has made certain statements in interviews that if you've listened, might cause some people to have pause.
Yes.
And it just depends on your perspective about what he is saying, right? It's
Yeah.
not that he's wrong per se, but it is an interesting
Take.
position
Yes.
to take, right? And
and black people find cause with that, and it's like if you don't stand firm one way, and not kind of broad. Black people have a problem with that. They want you to be a singular, particular way that they can relate to.
Right. And so if you're outside of that, then they question,
They question
your
it,
blackness.
and yes.
So,
And it doesn't necessarily mean anything per se, because what is black? You know, we have this conversation all the time, but there's this certain thing. It's just like, if we don't,
there's certain earmarks
yes,
that people think
correct.
that, well, I know that you're going to understand my point of view,
Yes.
and you're going to be a
and they
voice
feel
for
safe
me.
and comfortable with that.
Exactly.
Yes.
So, I mean, I can't
That's what
say
I meant
that
by
I
that,
don't
Kendi.
understand
I
it.
didn't mean that's what I meant. Hope that explains it.
Pretty Brown Mimi says, when did black content just morph into reality TV? Real Housewives, Love and Hip Hop. I think that is falsehood.
When we start watching it.
I mean, that is part of it. I think
Yeah.
that it is a falsehood, though, that is black content, because there's so many. I just mentioned Issa Rae and Insecure. We just talked about Blackish. There's so much black content around, but you have to vote with your views. You have to
Correct.
be as supportive of the black content that you claim you want to see, the different stories, the different things that are highlighted, as you are as being aware of, even if you're shunning the reality portion of that, because there is quality black content that is being made and being put out. And it's not even that you have to work as hard as you did back in the day. It's available. Andy?
I was just going to say the whole reality thing, that's all across the board. It's not just black.
Yep.
You know what I'm saying? You got
Facts.
your Kardashians, you have your, what is that, the Jersey Shores and all them type of stuff. So that's reality TV all across the board.
I agree with that. And here's the thing, too. That is a business move. It's not personal, right? Some of these reality shows that have predominantly white casts or others are just as ratchet and low down
Baby.
as ours are. Listen, the type of things that go on, you will be clutching your pearls, right?
Yeah.
But here's the thing.
out there.
Traditionally, reality TV has been cheaper to produce than scripted programming. So that is why you see all of the formats utilizing that. That is why you saw the explosion of that in the late 2000, from 2005 on up until recently. That's why you saw more of that during those months when we were on strike. But the problem is now those shows are becoming just as expensive to produce as some of the scripted programming. So we'll see if there's a change soon come. Andy?
Shout out to Diddy. Revolt. Revolt has some great programming that's not ratchet, that's very inspirational, informational. Earn Your Leisure is hosted there.
Yeah.
I don't know, people are tapped in with 19 Keys. 19 Keys is on there. So, shout out to Revolt. But, not a lot of people are watching that.
Revolt, the same deal that allowed Diddy to purchase Revolt, the same agreement, the diversity thing, is the same one that allowed Byron Allen to get, pettv.com and weather. And some of those other things. So you got to support the things that you say that you want. Like, that is the bottom line. And we don't always do that. We don't always put value into things that are created by us. We sometimes value things that are created for us in spaces that were predominantly white or other. That's just cold hard facts. The numbers support that, right? But we can change that and we can make adjustments. You always vote with your views, with your support things. G Killer says, I remember BA on Real People as a kid back in the day. He certainly was one of the 3 co-hosts. He's a billionaire because he was strategic. It started off with syndicated programming back, I think it was Entertainers or Entertainment with Byron Allen. Used to come on late at
2
night.
in the morning.
Yep.
Mhm.
And he would buy that space up. I loved it too. So, I mean, he did his thing.
That's why I want to give him a chance just for that show alone. Like, I believe that he has the potential to create good content. I just think that people want him to be something that he's not.
Urban Spencer says, I would watch rap-ish if I had HBO, but not adding another thing. Rap-ish season 2 was really good. It was really good. It is, obviously made by black women. It's not just for black women, but, it tells another side of the story. It's a really good show if you want to check it out. Shout out to Fatal Attraction and Unsung on TV One. And little known fact, Unsung originally started out under a different name at what? BET. Because that's how it goes.
What was the name of the show before Unsung?
God, what was it called? I'm blank. We had the American Gangster Show, which focused on, the biographies of the gangsters. So what they were going to do is they were going to turn it into a series about the record companies: Death Row, Bad Boy, No Limit, a couple of others. Some of the ones from the 70s, Motown, obviously. But it just never came to fruition. There was a change in the executive heads, and when things changed, projects change and they die and things of that nature. When we come forward, we'll get into more trending topics, more headlines. You're locked into RSVP with Jill Munroe here on KBLA Talk 1580.
We wish you a holiday season filled with peace and love and a new year rich with blessings. Mask up and stay safe. From all of us at KBLA Talk 1580.
People making lists, buying special gifts.
Cover California is a free service from the state that's already helped millions of people like you get and pay for health insurance. With financial help to lower the cost of health coverage, you could get a quality health plan for less than $10 a month. Every plan covers preventive care, doctor visits, emergency care, and more. If you have questions, we're here to help every step of the way. Cover California, this way to health insurance. Enroll by December 31st at coveredca.com.
I'm Scarlett Johansson. My family relied on public assistance to help provide meals for us. These meals fueled my involvement in theater and the arts as a child, which fostered my love for acting. The Feeding America network of food banks helps millions of people put food on the table. You can join the movement to end hunger by donating, volunteering, and advocating. Because when people are fed, futures are nourished. Join the movement to end hunger at feedingamerica.org/actnow.
Brought to you by Feeding America and the Ad Council.
Every child deserves the best teachers, facilities, and academic programs to set them up for success. At Milton Hershey School in Hershey, Pennsylvania, we make that a reality for children from qualifying families who are looking for greater opportunities. Milton Hershey School enrolls students from pre-K through 12th grade from across the United States to live and learn on a beautiful state-of-the-art campus with all costs covered. Are you looking to set your child up for success or know a child who could benefit from Milton Hershey School? Learn more at mhskids.org/admissions.
KBLA Talk 1580. We've got a lot to talk about.
KBLA Talk 1580, connecting you with services and solutions. Legal Aid Foundation of Los Angeles is a nonprofit law firm that protects and advances the rights of the most underserved, leveling the playing field and ensuring that everyone can have access to the justice system. Every year, LAFLA provides free, high-quality legal services to more than 100,000 people living in poverty across greater Los Angeles. Their unique combination of neighborhood offices, self-help centers at courthouses, and domestic violence clinics puts Legal Aid Foundation of Los Angeles on the front lines in vulnerable communities and at the forefront of change. LAFLA's expert team of attorneys, paralegals, and support staff works to provide direct representation, offer counsel and advice, provide referrals, and educate the community about their legal rights through workshops and seminars. With locations all over LA, you can access their services or volunteer to help no matter where you live. And if you have an urgent issue, call 213-235-0060. That's 213-235-0060. To get legal help, make a donation, or volunteer, visit lafla.org. lafla.org. This is a community call to action from KBLA Talk 1580.
Keeping you informed, entertained, and always ahead of the curve. This is RSVP with Jill Munroe on KBLA Talk 1580.
You were locked in to RSVP with Jill Munroe here on KBLA Talk 1580. So listen, we'll have to see what happens. Certainly will be interesting to watch. Paramount had actually taken BET off the market and was going to opt to stand firm with what they had. So with this new offer coming back in, we'll see what it kicks off, what happens with it and where we go from here. And also what happens with the potential merger of Paramount and BET. I think, who was it in the chat? DJ Black 909 asked, what is Rap-ish? Rap-ish is a TV comedy series. It's available on Max. produced by Issa Rae. She does not star in it. It is loosely based on the City Girls and their rise to fame. It has mostly newcomers in the cast. Season 1 was a vibe. You kind of had to be patient and get into it. It was kind of social media heavy. They went with a different sort of look and feel for it in season 2. The girls are actually going on tour in season 2, so a different change of pace. Remove some of the social media heavy aspects that might have been a turnoff for some people. So it's a good show. You should check it out.
I haven't seen it.
You should check it out. I enjoy it. I have not finished up season 2 yet because I saw I did a junket for it with the director a few months back. But I like to, sometimes, it's a show I like to binge watch. So I think what I will do is go back and do season 1 again up to season 2. It's not that many episodes. I think there's only maybe
like 10 or something like that.
Yeah, 10 or less.
Oh, okay.
So in each season.
Well, she sticks to her a certain style. She always does like 10 episodes in a season or something like that.
So we'll have to see what happens. You know, it was in danger of season 2 happening at all because of the merger with Warner Discovery. So we'll have to see if it lives to see season 3. But there's some original songs in it. You know, I always talk about seduce and scheme when we're talking about our scammers. That's one of the original songs from that. So, yeah, check it out if you have time. It's
Maybe I'll watch it over Christmas holiday.
I enjoyed it. So let me give you this update. You know, Jamel Charlo, former WBC light middleweight champion. He has been arrested in Texas for allegedly beating up a female family member and allegedly bragging about it in some leaked audio. So this is according to the Daily Mail. Details about this arrest are a little fuzzy right now, but he was booked in Texas on charges of assault causing bodily harm. And following the news of the assault, audio of him bragging about hitting a woman was leaked on Twitter. And it's kind of intense. He talks about the woman acting like she's tough, but he hit her in her eye, giving her a black eye. And he said that she called the police on him like a regular woman. Don't know really what that means. He said, I hit that B like this, and there's a sound effect. In the eye, socked her in the eye. Big swole purple thing, can't even open. She called the cops on me like a woman, like a regular woman. He's been released on bail and is currently awaiting trial. So, you know, love and light to the situation. Hopefully maybe there's a misunderstanding in there and that he didn't act as such. And we will wait for further news to get into that. So, you know, I was just talking about seduce and scheme, right? Seduce and scheme. I don't know the rest of the words, but
it's nothing I want to be a part of.
Me either. But if you're in Atlanta, home of the scammers, sometimes I'm just joking, guys. Don't take that too seriously. However, an Atlanta attorney has been locked up because she was found guilty.
Who, Phaedra?
Not Phaedra. Of a $7 million PPP scam. She reportedly used the funds to buy things like a Rolls Royce and jewelry, right? So she wrapped the Rolls Royce in pink matte. Okay? So like Barbie pink. She bought a motorcycle, a 10-carat diamond ring, and other things. She exaggerated the number of employees that she had working for her business, but she blamed it on the faulty PPP loan application. Her lawyer pled guilty in a separate situation, so it was a whole
situation, a scam.
So she was found guilty on 3 counts of wire fraud and a single count of money laundering and conspiracy to commit wire fraud. So her sentencing is set to take place April 11th, 2024.
Wire fraud. So that means that she sent some money off to Vanuatu.
Maybe.
Or the Caymans.
I don't know. It's a lot going on here. I mean, Slow down. So listen, there is another. I didn't get into this, and I apologize. One of the other potential buyers for the BET Media Group includes the CEO of BET, Scott Mills. He's been at BET for 26 years. I worked with Scott while I was at BET. He worked his way up through the company, and he has a company. He, excuse me, he is teaming up with an executive at a private equity firm, a part of Blackstone. We know who Blackstone is, right? It's one of the big. What you're looking at like that, you know?
Is this guy related to Tiffany Mills, our friend?
No, he's not. No, he's not. Not at all. But she was there. We all were there together.
Love
He was an
Tiffany
executive
Mills.
at the time. Shout out to those Hamilton High Yankees, two in the building. He's an executive who runs CC Capital Partners. So they have discussed it, but the price tag they wanted was under $2 billion for it. So I don't know. It's a lot of interesting things out there. You know, Byron's email to Paramount allegedly said, "You are pursuing an inside sale at the below market price with management that will not yield the highest price for the stockholders. We believe it would be an egregious breach of fiduciary duty by the Paramount Global Management Team and Board of Directors if BET is sold for anything less than the highest price, particularly in order to provide a sweetheart deal to an insider at the expense of public shareholders." So he's like, put it on the glass. Y'all trying to do this at a deal because Scott has been there running it. There were talks at one point in time. He was going to team up, I believe, with Kenya Barris, and Showtime was going to have some arm of like BET Black. Showtime
Don't
as
exist.
a brand. Yeah, as a brand. But that is why they made the decision. They made the decision to move away because a lot of moving parts are changing and the whole structure of the company is moving around. So Byron Allen is basically like, I see y'all trying to give him a deal. I'm trying to pay top dollar. How can you tell me no? So he's trying to strong arm them into the deal.
I like it. I like his antics. They're very you know what I'll call them? They're very golf course.
We will see what happens, you know. So it would expand Byron's media empire, obviously a great deal. Allen Media Group. So it encompasses entertainment studios. He founded that 30 years ago. That's obviously what the Entertainers TV show was based off of and out of. He owns 12 cable networks, the Weather Channel, JusticeCentral.tv, Cars.tv, and Pets.tv, a theatrical movie distribution company, a stable of 28 broadcast stations affiliated with the Big Four broadcast networks. Allen Media Group also produces, distributes, and sells advertising for 73 TV shows. It is one of the largest independent producers, distributors of first-run syndicated TV programming for broadcast stations, and the company has nearly 2,300 employees.
That's where that money comes from, that advertising.
That is where that money comes from.
That's
Listen,
that $1 billion right there.
Big dough, big
it's
dough.
Not the Weather Channel.
When we come forward, we're going to get into Keefe D. He says his Tupac confession was for entertainment. Also, don't forget that we have an interview coming up with Dr. Simone from Married to Medicine
My
season
Pisces
10.
sister.
So we're going to get into all of that and more on the other side. You are locked into RSVP with Jill Munroe here on KBLA Talk 1580. News and sports on the other side.
To live by, or either that's one to die to. I try to just throw it at you. Determine your own adventure, Andre. Got to a station, here's my destination. She got off the bus, the conversation lingered in my head for hours. Took a shower, kinda sour, cause my favorite group ain't coming with it. But I'm with you, cause you're probably going through it anyway. But anyhow, went and died, went on out and bought it, cause I thought it would be jamming. But examine on the floor, skit, walk it, awfully, sand and it's costly. But that's all shit. And I hope I never have.
KBLA 1580 Santa Monica.
I'm Amber Payton. Here's the latest on the Black information.